For Philadelphia baseball fans, good players, great teams come and go. But over the past 30 years, there's been one constant, the voice of Phillies baseball, Harry Kalas.
As early as high school, I thought of becoming a sports announcer and specifically a baseball announcer.
When Harry Kalas goes to work, he's living his boyhood dream.
To be able to achieve that dream has been wonderful, and I still really enjoy it.
He is the Jack Buck of the Philadelphia market, for sure. He deserves every bit of accolade that he gets.
If you ask him where he's from Philadelphia. He's not from Naperville, Illinois, or the time that he spent in Hawaii, or any of the individual towns necessarily that he's lived in this area. He's from Philadelphia, and that's because of who he is and what he's done.
Kalas is not a Philadelphia native. In fact, he didn't arrive here until his career was well underway. But after 30 years as the unmistakable voice of the Philadelphia Phillies, he is without a doubt a Philadelphian. Harry Kalas was born in Chicago in March of 1936. He was raised in the suburb of Naperville with his older brother. As a young boy, he listened to the voices of Jack Buck and Harry Carey. By the time he reached Naperville High School, his destiny as a broadcaster was beginning to reveal itself. A high school speech teacher was the first to take note.
Janine Anderson was very, very influential. She was a great lady who was impressed with the speeches that I made and was particularly interested because I seemed so nervous that my knees would be shaking when I'd be making a speech, and yet you never see it visually if you were in the audience. And but she was very influential, as was Dr. Walter Stromer, a blind professor in my first year of college at Cornell College before I transferred to Iowa. He was a blind man that listened to my speeches, listened to me on the small little campus station they had there, and said, "You have the kind of voice that could make it in radio and television." So he was influential as well.
Kalas completed college at the University of Iowa in 1959. But before he could make his first professional call, he had to answer Uncle Sam's.
Lo and behold, I went over in Hawaii for 1 week. Then my master sergeant called me, and I was with the 27th Infantry Wolfhounds, and he said, "Headquarters wants to talk to you." Well, they saw my background as a communications major at Iowa, and they made me a broadcast specialist.
After fulfilling his contract with the government, Kalas declared himself a free agent, but remained in Hawaii while looking for work. In 1961, he got his first paying job, sports director for Honolulu radio station KGU. But other offers were soon coming his way.
When the Sacramento baseball franchise moved to Honolulu, I applied for the job and got the job as the first broadcaster of the Hawaii Islanders. If you're going to do minor league baseball, I can't think of a better place than Hawaii. So,
while in Hawaii, Kalas married, and it wasn't long before the couple started building a family and was moving to a higher playing field, so to speak.
That was the start. I spent 4 years there and sent tapes out to major league teams that I thought might be looking for someone, and one clicked in Houston in '65, the first year of the Astrodome.
The Astros had just changed their name from the Colt 45s and were fairly new to Major League Baseball. But now, Kalas was in the big show. During those years with Houston, Kalas befriended a colleague who would also have an impact on his career.
I met Harry Kalas in Houston, Texas back in the mid-'60s, maybe 64 or 5. He was hired by the Houston baseball team to be the broadcaster in Houston, Texas, and I was public relations director of the Houston baseball team at that time. I came to Philadelphia in 1970, and what happened was we changed beer sponsors. Ballantine Beer had been a big beer sponsor, and Bill Campbell, one of the announcers at that time, had done a lot of the commercials for Ballantine Beer. And Schmidt's Beer became the main sponsor for the Phillies at that time.
Schmidt's Beer demanded the Phillies fire veteran announcer Bill Campbell. The Phillies obliged, despite the fallout they would face from the fans. The man in charge of filling Campbell's post knew of a suitable replacement, an old colleague from Houston.
When Bill Giles called me to offer me the job, having been with the Houston Astros and come to Philadelphia, I knew it was a great sports city, and I knew it was a really good opportunity, and I wanted to take the job. When he called me, he said, you know, you will be an addition to the existing broadcast crew of Bill Campbell, By Sam, and Richie Ashburn. I said, fine, you know. And then he had a press conference set up, and for some reason they decided to let Bill Campbell go, and Bill Campbell still is a very popular sportscaster in Philadelphia, and so I was due to come in for a press conference, and Bill said, don't come. He didn't want me to go through the negativity that would be, who's this guy that's taken Bill Campbell's place? So the first few years were tough. Without Richie Ashburn and Byram Sam's help and them taking me under their wing, I don't know if I would have made it.
Thank you. Because above all the festivities, the response that you have shown, making this a sellout months in advance.
So I think it took a while before the Philadelphia public took me in as, yeah, he's our guy. And I think Richie Ashburn had a great deal to do with that, because I think the public felt like, hey, if Whitey likes him, he must be all right.
Big League Baseball is played in big ballparks in big cities before big crowds. But it all starts in some small ballpark in some small town in Florida or Arizona.
And my dad, he obviously went through that same transition, a little different, you know, coming from a player to the broadcast booth, and he'd be the first one to tell you that he really stunk the joint up the first couple of years of his career, and he was certainly aware of the transition that Harry was making, and I think, you know, because he could relate to it or empathize with it, he made him feel more comfortable.
Callis began settling into his new broadcast home as the Phillies were settling into their new playing field at Veterans Stadium.
Now the first hit in Veterans Stadium, and it goes justifiably to Larry Bowa.
Callis's personality and professionalism began to win over Phillies fans and made even the toughest forget the headline that asked, Harry who? Callis was also earning the players' respect with his strong talent, serious work attitude, and his passion for Phillies baseball.
A line drive, it's a fair ball down the left field line, going all the way to the corner. Here comes Stott in to score. Lake being waved around. Mitchell can't pick it up. Lake scores. Here comes Dernier. The throw to the plate. Save! I can't believe it!
But it was the broadcasting marriage of Callis and Ashburn that would first become a Philadelphia sports institution.
Hi, everybody, from Veterans Stadium. Welcome to Phillies baseball. Opening night, 1978. Harry Callis along with Andy Musser and Rich Ashburn. And Rich, here we go, 1978.
Of course, he and Richie Ashburn working together was something I've never seen in sports. The uniqueness of those two was very, very special.
For, 26, 27 years, they lived together. I mean, probably spent more time with each other than they did with their families. From February, at the start of spring training to, October, and they spent almost every day and night together. So, and through that, became best of friends.
This game is it. I think whoever wins this game is going to win this thing.
I don't agree.
Okay.
I don't
Why?
agree. I think you got to win two more to win it, Harry.
No kidding.
Callis and Ashburn were fast becoming the most well-known broadcast team in Phillies history. The duo worked side by side for more than 20 years. Their mutual respect for each other's talent was carried over outside of the broadcast booth as well.
Do we have to treat you any differently now? I mean,
Yeah, a
do we
lot
have
of
to treat-
respect, a little respect.
Tremendous friendship. There was, he was as good a friend as a man could have, and we were just very, very close, out of the booth and off the field and away from the field, and we just had a natural rapport that you can't teach and you can't work on. It was just something very special. To this day, something will happen down in the field or here in the booth that reminds me of Whitey, and it's always with a smile on my face and warmth in my heart. It was just a joy to be around.
When Harry got married to Eileen, other than the preacher, my dad was the only person at the wedding. So obviously Harry thought an awful lot of him to have him be a part of that.
Harry Kalas had found his home, doing what he loved with one of the best friends he would ever have.
Incorrect, however.
A loss for the sports community and especially for Phillies fans. The beloved Hall of Famer and announcer for the Philadelphia Phillies, Richie Ashburn, died last night.
In September of 1997, Philadelphia sports fans were brought to their knees with word that Richie Ashburn had died. The 70-year-old experienced a fatal heart attack just hours after he and Kalas broadcast a game in New York. No one outside of Ashburn's own family would feel the shock and grief as deeply as Harry Kalas.
It was very difficult. It was a shock. Never forget that morning in New York when Jeff Cooper, our trainer, called me, and I was half asleep. He called me at 6 in the morning, and I thought, did he tell me what I just thought he told me? I had to call Jeff Cooper back and say, did you say what I think you just said? And he said, yeah.
Philadelphia and the world of baseball mourned the loss of a whiz kid. Harry Kalas, the loss of his dear friend. Now he would have to pitch the game alone, without his trusted partner. And while Phillies baseball goes on, the magic that was Kalas and Ashburn has never been duplicated.
There goes Pokey, swing and a miss. Nobody covered. I cannot believe it.
Today, the Phillies broadcast team is comprised of Harry Kalas, Chris Wheeler, Scott Graham, and former Philly Larry Anderson.
It's not the same relationship it was with Richie, because they really had a very unusual relationship. They had a lot of good sense of humor between the two of them, and they would kid around a lot, and they really liked each other as people, and that made it special. Harry relates well to Larry Anderson, Chris Wheeler, and Scott Graham, but it's not quite what it used to be.
But Kalas's current broadcast partners hold him in the highest esteem.
He was the guy that you wanted calling your play. You know, whether it was, you know, if it was a special moment in a game, not even just individually, but as a team. You wanted to hear that home run call. You wanted to hear he struck him out.
Struck him out. Number 3,500.
You always wanted to hear it with him doing it, and that's not anything derogatory towards anybody else. It's just he's the man, and that's how good he is, and you wanted to hear him.
Well hit to deep center field. This ball's out of here.
His Harry's style is very unique. It's very minimalist. It doesn't give you too much chatter in the middle of the game, and then there's that dramatic moment, and the hair stands up on your arms because of the way he brings it to you.
Long drive. Could it be? It is a game-winning pitch hit. Home run. Mike Lieberthal. Can you believe it? Long drive. This game is going to be tied. The secret weapon.
You will never hear a player talk bad about Harry. You will never. I think one player has turned him down for an interview, and in all his years, and they will do anything for Harry. They'll jump through hoops for him. A great example of that was Scott Rowland when the St. Louis came to town, knowing he was going to get booed when they were honoring Harry, but he came out in front of 50,000 people to pay his respects to Harry, knowing that he was going to get booed by everybody in the stadium.
One strike to Pokey Reese.
You get a chance to see a man who loves his work as much as he does, and Harry is consistent every single day. It's the same way. It's the same approach. It's the same way he deals with people.
After a perfect start, the Patriots have lost 3 in a row and look more like a troop of rusty reserves than defending champions.
Kalas's style and consistency also caught the attention of sports production powerhouse NFL Films. In the 1970s, he found himself rubbing elbows with another Philadelphia broadcasting icon, John Facenda.
And John really became a mentor of mine. He was the best narrator I ever heard and a wonderful man, and so he was very influential to me. And now nobody replaces John Facenda. I'm just one of several voices that they use for their films. While New England tries to prevent a locker room revolution, the 6-2 Broncos head for a bye and some much-deserved rest.
But Callis's voice also steps into the households of people who have never watched sports on television.
Career-high 111 yards rushing and 2 scores.
A chunky quarterback moment. New Campbell's Chunky Roasted Favorites fill you up right.
Since 1971, Callis has been an integral part of the excitement in Phillies baseball. He covets the fact that he has witnessed some of baseball's greatest moments.
Our ground ball, great grab, Green. It's over. He's pitched a no-hit, no-run game, making the final out himself.
Following Michael Jack Schmidt's entire career as Hall of Fame third baseman, from the get-go when he was booed by the fans to the culmination when the fans finally realized, wow, we're watching something very special. Best third baseman ever to play the game. Single moment would be his 500th career home run at Pittsburgh.
Take a long drive. There it is. Number 500. The career 500th home run for Michael Jack Schmidt. And the Phillies have regained the lead at Pittsburgh. 8-6. And the Phillies dugout comes swarming out to home plate.
And the 1980 club, when they had such great clubs in the late 70s, 76, 77, 78, won division championships and could never get over the hump of winning the league championship series to get to the World Series. Then in 1980, that gut-wrenching 5-game series with the Houston Astros when they pulled it out by beating Nolan Ryan after trailing him 5-2 in the 8th inning.
Trio, a line drive, fair ball, left field line. Avi left scores. Here's Del Hunter being waved around. He's going to score. Matty Trio at third and triple. Phillies lead at 7-5. What a comeback by this great bunch of Phillies. 3-2 pitch, swing and a drive right center field. Maddox is there. All right.
And ended up in the World Series. That was something I'll never forget.
We'll be going down to the clubhouse shortly.
Harry Callis's voice is nationally recognized. After 4 decades as a broadcaster and 50,000 innings of play-by-play, fans anxiously awaited word that he would be inducted, like his friend Richie Ashburn, into baseball's Hall of Fame. In 2002, the wait was finally over.
It happened in late January. It was kind of strange because Paul Hagen, a writer for the Philadelphia Daily News, wanted to do a story about me. And he said, I've talked to the Hall. He said he was kind of anticipating that I might get the award. And I said, no, I don't want to say anything unless it does happen. He said, well, they told me that they were going to name the Ford Frick recipient either the first week of February. It could be as late as February 15th. Well, I'm in the shower on January 29th. I'll never forget the day. And I'm in the shower, and my wife, I get out of the shower, my wife says, you had a call from Dale Petrosky of the Hall of Fame. I said, what? She said, yeah. So I called him back, and that's how I found out. Right here it is, video. My partner, Don Richie Ashburn. Wow.
Well, you're with him now, Harry.
Yes, I am.
Probably my first thought was, finally. And I guess more than that, even, why did it take so long?
There's a committee that elects broadcasters to the Hall of Fame, and we have been writing letters and making phone calls for 4 or 5 years because we really thought he deserved to be there.
I've never seen a man so perfectly matched for his job. I've never seen somebody love their job as much as he does. And to watch that's been going on for all these years now here in Philadelphia and even before he got here to Philadelphia, to watch that get rewarded, that's a special thing. That doesn't happen all the time.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct pleasure to honor and introduce to you this year's 2002 award winner of the Ford C. Frick Award, Harry Callis.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. This is the ultimate honor in a game that I have loved since I was 10 years old. I now join my 2 partners, with whom I worked when I first came to Philadelphia in 1971, by Sam and Richie Ashburn. And to the most passionate sports fans in America, the Philadelphia fans, I have written a brief poem to you beautiful fans. This is to the Philadelphia fan, to laud your passion as best I can. Your loyalty is unsurpassed. Be the fightins in first or last. We come to the park each day looking forward to another fray. Because we know you'll be there. We know you really care. Your reaction to the action on the field that you impart spurs us as broadcasters to call the game with enthusiasm and heart. We feel your passion through and through. Philadelphia fans, I love you.
Callis's appreciation for the fans is mutual. More than 58,000 turned out when, again, in 2002, the Phillies celebrated Harry Callis Day at the Vet. The Phillies organization was honoring the broadcaster for more than 30 years of dedication to the team and the sport.
I've been in baseball for 50-some years, and I don't recall having promotional giveaways of bobbin head dolls or this little fellow right here about announcers. I mean, I just don't recall that ever happening. But Harry and Richie, but Harry in particular now, became so popular that it was the best promotion we've had in years.
Presentation.
Harry Callis has been named Pennsylvania Sportscaster of the Year 17 times. He has won Emmy Awards as a sportscaster and as a narrator for NFL films. He has been honored by broadcast pioneers of Philadelphia. He has had an illustrious career and could easily hang up the headphones and look back with great satisfaction. The only thing standing in the way is his love of the game.
I think I'll be the first to know if I'm slipping, if I'm losing it, if I'm not seeing the field, if I'm not calling the games the way they should be called. And at that point, I would hang them up, but I don't feel that way right now. I feel like I could still call the games the way they should be called. And so when that will come, I don't know. I hope it's not soon.
For a lot of people, growing up remembering a simpler time in baseball, for a lot of people remembering the teams in this ballpark that were winning pennants in the 1970s, and for the team that went to the series in 83, and certainly for the team that went to the series in 93, Harry is that soundtrack.
Now the stretch. 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. Phillies are the 93 National League champions. This wacky, wonderful bunch of throwbacks has won the National League pennant and go on to the World Series. Well hit to deep left. Goodbye. Way out of here. Down the right field line, a long run for Lescano. It's a fair ball. What a play by Lescano. What a sensational play by Sixto Lescano. Oh, my. They're going crazy here at Veterans Stadium. Struck him out. Phillies have won it, and now it's Schmidt's turn as Holland dies on Mike Schmidt. As the Phillies are the 1983 National League champs.
It's amazing how many letters I've received in the last month or so saying, what happens when he retires? And I said, I have no idea what happens when he retires, but it will be a big blow. I know when Richie Ashburn died a few years ago, it was a void for a lot of people that follow baseball. And when Harry retires, and eventually he will, we're going to have a big void.
I hope we never have to get to a day where we have to imagine the Phillies without Harry Callis, because right now, he is the Phillies.
Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. No, I don't have any regrets at all about what has transpired in my career.
Harry Callis has never looked back or questioned whether he made the right career choice in 1971.
I love this as a sports city, and when Bill Giles brought me here in 1971. I jumped at the opportunity. It's the best professional move I ever made.
And I don't think there's any doubt about the fact that you classify him as a legend. I mean, if Harry's not a legend, who is?
Thank you, and God bless all of you. Thank you very much.
I'll leave it at this. His rendition of On the Way to Cape May with his fake ukulele is by far the best.
On the way to Cape May, I fell in love with you. On the way to Cape May, you made my dreams come true. I was taken by your smile as we headed for Sea Isle, and I knew I was gone when we reached Avalon. On the way to Cape May, Stone Harbor skies were blue. We were naming the day when Wildwood came in view. If you're gonna be my spouse, gonna head for that courthouse. On the way to Cape May, on the way to Cape May. Do-do-do-do-do.